Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years. But only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
Side empathy. What's yours for the taking tonight?
Wake up! It is a great day. Welcome to today's installment. The train is coming. The train is coming. Listen, I am thrilled to be here this morning. First of all, thank you, God, for waking me up today to have another opportunity to find my highest self. I'm telling you what, every day above ground is a great day. Can I get an amen? Yes, indeedy. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris. And boy, here we are. It's Tuesday. We're inching our way through the week. How are things shaping up in your neck of the woods? Drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from in the world. And we got a great show for you today. You know, it's the BTBY, Becoming the Best You Takeover Week. They're going to be here. They were here yesterday. We saw the founder, Brenda Ringwood, and the wonderful Mr. Unstoppable, Terrence Leftridge, were in the house. And today we have yet another one of their incredible speakers that you can get poured into, okay, for lack of a better term, coming up the 17th through the 19th of February down in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. I'm going to be there, and I want to see you there too. Not in person, virtually, okay? So listen, that's the Bella purpose. You know, it's been here all 6 years. It is a real thing. It is not a gimmick. It is not just a little show prop. I prefer to refer to it as an opportunity, a reminder, if you will, that just like that bell has a ring to it, you guessed it, so does the truth. So as we go about our business, getting our day started, let's remember to never be too busy that we miss the truth. Can I get an amen? All right. Last thing, help me welcome to the show my sidekick. She's also been here all 6 years, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo, and I love me some Lucy. I sure do. So let me see. Do I have any announcements? Well, you guys know we still have room for a couple more of you. We're up to 17 people that will be joining my team and I as we head over to the beautiful country, truly beautiful country of Romania, May 5 through 12 for the Power of We Symposium Legacy of Hope tour. We have room for a couple more. If you want to know more information, please get at me, LaurenMichaelsHarris.com. Leave a message, and someone from the team will reach out to you to let you know how you can become a part of this historical trip, okay? Also, coming up, you're going to get information right around Thursday here on the show and on all my socials. We decided that we wanted some more warm weather in our lives. So we're headed down. The rock stars, you know, that's my coaching program. All of the rock stars and myself are converging on beautiful Miami, Florida. We're going down there the last weekend, 24th, 5th, and 6th of February, the weekend after the Becoming the Best You. We'll be in St. Louis that weekend, Miami the following weekend for a wonderful, wonderful time of fellowship and just getting it all together. Business mindset, personal mindset, all the way across the board. And we want you there. We're going to be in person, of course, but we're also going to provide that Saturday pay-per-view so that you can come aboard. You can be there for 3 hours, get poured into for some of the top mindset gurus from around the world, and that is going to be fantastic. If you're interested, reach out. Let me see, what is this here? Here I see. Oh, okay, I got another one. So anyway, who is here today? Who is it? His name, I want to get it right. You know, I should have asked about the I heard his name, the last name pronounced a couple ways. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna say, well, Velton. Is that not the most unique name? Love it. Velton W. Showell III. He's a founder and chief strategist, Leadership Dynamics International. That's a corporation of his. So he's a dynamic, internationally recognized speaker, trainer. He's a published author and also a business consultant. He loves to speak and teach and train clients all over the world, encouraging every one of them to transform their thinking and to move their professional and personal performance from good to great, right? So he's affectionately known as the Leadershipologist. He's also the author of Leadership Dynamics, The Principles of Leadership. He's also a student of what he calls, there it is again, Leadershipology, the study of leadership. So he's done it for over 30 years. Let me see. But you know what? like the kids say, I can show you better than I can tell you. So I am going to get him in here. So listen, you guys, today, this is an illuminated conversation, and I need you to be a part of it. So keep your questions in the comment section. We'll get to them. And really tune in today. You're going to get some golden nuggets that I know for a fact are going to change your life. And if you like which I know you will, what you get here today, you're going to love what you find down in St. Louis in just a couple weekends from now. So without further ado, you know how we do it. It's his first time. He's a newbie here. So we give that standing ovation. We're rolling out the virtual red carpet, if you will. How do you do that? It's easy, it's free, and it's painless. Drop your hearts, throw them up on the screen, and let Velton know just how happy we are he's here. Here he comes, you guys. Velton W, Showell III. Don't leave that third off. He'll cut you. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Well, good morning. How are you, Lauren? Good to see
awesome.
you.
Blessed, highly favored, living in dominion, just like you. So
hey, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is. So where are you in the neighborhood? Where in the world are you right now?
Well, I shudder to even tell you because you just made a comment that you are coming to my hood and I didn't know it. I live between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Shut the front door. Well, you need to come on over. Maybe if you're free.
Let me know.
You can do some pouring into my team as well.
Absolutely. Let me know when you're here.
Oh my goodness. We're so excited. We have Todd Special coming. Todd is at all of my events. Always has been one of the top sales gurus in the world. And we got to talk after the show. I did not know you were in Florida. That's how my Aunt Candy said. Florida. Right. So, I see DTM, which tells me, because I'm a Toastmaster, that you're a distinguished Toastmaster, which I am not. Quite an achievement. Only a handful of them out there. What is that CVP, though? What's that stand for?
Certified Virtual Presenter.
What in the world? You made that up.
No. Actually, it's given out by eSpeakers.
Oh.
And then basically, I'm certified. COVID-19 changed the playing field.
Sure did.
And so instead of standing in front of an audience of 900 to 1,000, you had to basically broadcast from your home to millions.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's in anything, if you want to be good, that's one thing. But if you want to be great, you need to get some training and some fortification. So the CVP gave me some additional training and insight to how to take my performance from average to outstanding.
Ooh. Told y'all. Talking about fortification. I hope you don't mind. You see, I'm in my robe. That's why I made a show early in the morning where I didn't have to even do nothing. For all y'all know, I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. Yeah, I did. I really did. I'm going to eat my Cheerios with bananas while we're doing this interview. So if you got anything you want to munch on, feel free. Listen, there's a tradition here on the show where I dip out for about a minute and just let you have a personal moment just to, get that synergy going between you and all of those who are watching from around the globe. So I'm going to dip out. It's all you. I'll pop back in about a minute. Take it away. Tell them anything that I may have left out, something that you want them to know.
Well, Lauren was very gracious in his introduction. I'll make a slight adaptation. My name is Velton W. Showell III.
I knew I had it wrong.
Showell because I'm originally from New Jersey, but my ancestors were from Maryland, and the town that they were from is called Showell, Maryland. Won't exactly go into why it was called Showell or why we have that name, but you can embellish upon it yourself. I grew up in Camden, New Jersey, and was very fortunate to have both my parents, and spent most of my young life in the Camden area. Graduate of Rutgers University in New Jersey, and started my career. Now, Lauren and I had a little discussion before we went on air about him being my senior which he knows now he's not.
I'm used to being the oldest one in town.
No, and next time I see Lauren's age, there'll be a 1 in front of it. So we'll leave it at that, so we don't have to go into what we are, but we are. And I spent 30 years in the hospitality industry in corporate America, in sales and marketing. I was a director of sales and marketing for 20 years.
Wow.
And in 2008, when the market crashed, I had an epiphany. I said, it's time to stop working for somebody else and working and doing what I love. And I came up with a saying, and I want you all to write this down to remember it. Right. When your vocation intersects with your passion, you will never work a day in your life.
Got that right. That's the truth.
So my vocation was sales and marketing, or presenting, speaking, communicating to people. My passion was leading people down a path. My passion was creating opportunities for others. My passion was getting into situations where I could change people's mindset, thought process, and position. So I created my own company, and it evolved. As any of you who are entrepreneurs, if you're in a place with a company and you feel like you're stuck, it's a temporary situation.
Amen.
There's a saying that I love. It says, you don't, failure is a temporary situation. The only thing that makes it permanent is giving up.
Ooh.
So you're going to fail, but when you fall forward, and don't create a situation for yourself where it's unachievable or it's the end of the road. You have to keep going, but also you have to create a direction, understand where you're going and how you're going to get there. If you think more than you do, you'll get more done.
Amen.
Go back, think about it for a while, plan, come up with some strategies and ideas so that you can then start your direction. Now, I'm going to regress for a minute to my childhood, or, well, my children's childhood.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. My daughter's a big Disney fan, and she always watched Disney movies. One of her favorite movies was Alice in Wonderland. Everybody remember Alice in Wonderland?
Oh, I remember her.
Think about your Alice, and you're traveling down the road on your journey in your business.
I see it.
And you come to the fork in the road. And sitting in the middle of the fork is a big tree.
Or spoon.
And sitting up in the tree is the Cheshire Cat. What did Alice say to the Cheshire Cat? She had this perplexed look on her face, and she says, which way should I go? And the Cheshire Cat says, well, where are you trying to get to? And Alice's response was, well, I don't know. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, any road will do.
If you don't know.
If you're not focused, if you don't have an idea of where you want to go, you can be assured of one thing: you ain't ever going to get there. So what I work with people on is, number one, understanding who they are, what they're about, and where they want to go. And number two, surrounding themselves with people that are like-minded, achievement-driven, motivated individuals who will not stop with the first issue that arises.
Amen.
So if you surround yourself with excellence, it kind of rubs off on you after a while, even if you don't want it to, because excellent people will not allow you to stay in that room for too long if you don't come up to their standard.
Right. That's true.
That's number one. So continue to strive for excellence. Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start, but you got to start to be great. And that's because you're traveling down a road. You're traveling and you're learning and you're growing. You're going to stumble. You're going to skin your knee. You're going to fall. But fall forward.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. When you're climbing, if you're a rock climber or a mountain climber, you don't become a rock climber or a mountain climber because you're standing on top of the mountain saying, hey, I'm an expert at this, and I'm going to show you once I get ready to climb this mountain. I've never climbed the mountain before, but I'm going to tell you how to climb the mountain. How long will you listen to that person? Conversely, if there's a rock climber who's climbed the mountain, who's slipped, who's possibly fallen, who skinned their knee, who hurt themselves on the road to climbing that mountain. And they're at the top of the mountain and you're trying to get up there, and they say, hey, put your hand over here. Do this over there. Secure yourself here. You're more apt to listen to that person because they walked a mile in your shoes. And the wisdom comes from not standing on top of the mountain. It comes from what they learned on the way up.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cherish your lessons because they are going to be there and you need to recognize them. When something happens to you, when you fail, the first question you ask yourself is, what's the lesson here? What did I learn? How has this improved my position so that I can move forward and I don't repeat the mistakes of the past?
Right.
That's where the lesson is. The value is in the lessons. That's why you surround yourself with people who are in a position of looking for excellence, but people who know more than you. My good friend, Dr. George Fraser, says, if you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So find out how you can surround yourself with people who know more than you.
Yep.
People who can teach you. People who can help you grow. I love hanging out with people who know more than me. My great-grandfather, who lived to be 103 years old, he's the one who pronounced his last name Showell. That's why everybody who says something else, I don't really pay attention.
Well, we're about to talk about that here in a second.
Okay. But he said, so he used to sit me on his knee and he said, Sonny boy, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as you speak.
Oh, yeah.
So listen first, speak softly, and speak second. You can speak.
A lot of people can't do that.
Lauren and I are both speakers, but guess what? I study.
Yeah.
I basically, that's why I call myself the leadershipologist, because biology is the study of the body. Sociology is the study of society. Psychology is the study of the mind. Leadershipology is the study of the principles of leadership. The book that I wrote, Leadership Dynamics, the principles of leadership, is based on 52 principles that every successful leader understands. Now,
wait, hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Yep.
I'm trying to keep it. I don't want to give up everything.
Rolling. Well, you know me.
Before we get too far down the road, y'all know every day this month we have a Black History moment. And we're about to jump into the one for today. Now, you mentioned your daughter earlier, and then you mentioned how your name got to the point of where it is today. And we all know what he was alluding to about that town and that name. Of course we do, especially those of us of color. Now, for those of you who don't know how to put that together, to click it together like a nice purposeful seatbelt, we're going to help with that right now. Today's Black History moment is featuring some kids who are going to tell you what Black History Month is all about. So when they say from the mouths of babes, you're about to find out why. Take a look, you all.
Hello. Black History Month is a commemoration, vocab word, for Black activists, another vocab word.
Love it.
Who took their time out to go fight for what they feel is right. Like Martin Luther King had a speech that violence is not the answer and no segregation. We celebrate Black people that helped us change history.
It reminds us to be strong, even in politics.
What matters is what's inside of you and how you act to other people.
Doesn't matter if you're Black, if you're white, just always celebrate it because you know the the struggles Black leaders went through in order for you to be here right now.
Even though we may have the different skin color, we're still the same type of people, no matter what.
And a lot of people, they don't see me for who I am. They see my outside appearance, but they don't see what I have on the inside.
It's very hard to grow up knowing that you're Black and you have a lot of personal prejudices against you.
I see it on the TV and I'm like, is that going to happen to my brother? Is that going to happen to my dad? I always have that in the back of my mind every time that I'm home and they're not home.
Black history is important to me because I have to remember where I came from and I have to remember who came before me.
Because you have to look at the things that Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X did for us Black people, so people can't treat us unfairly because they think some type of belief.
Because we are all people, and you need to stand up for our rights.
There's still discrimination. There's still discrimination in all parts of the world, in all parts of the United States. We should still fight for what we believe in. We should still fight for getting what's right.
Wow. See, if you don't find that encouraging, then you need to go back to bed and get up and start over. So the reason I thought that was a great piece to incorporate today was because the topic today is leadership. Mm-hmm. And leadership is not just for the people you lead on the job or in your community. It's also within your family, but most importantly, leadership within thyself.
Absolutely. That's where it starts.
Go ahead. Talk about that.
Leadership, that's a great point, Lauren. The first person that you lead in life is yourself.
Amen.
You don't lead anybody else unless you can lead yourself. There's a saying that says, before you can lead many, you must learn first to lead one. And that is who you are. He talked about my children and my family. I'm a very, very proud father. I grew up in the inner city. Camden is a small city. It's only 7 miles by 7 miles, and it's across the river from Philadelphia. It's a very depressed city, and it's very difficult to come out of there. But there are great people who have come out of there, and I was very fortunate that I had parents who poured into me and set an example for me and allowed me to grow into the person that I've become. I took that same ideology with my children. But the real thing that I asked myself, and I want each of you to ask yourself this: what will my children's children's children say about me? What will they say about their great-great-great-grandfather? What legacy am I leaving them? Legacy is what people say about you, not what you say about yourself.
Right.
So I've started to talk about my kids and who I'm extremely proud of. My oldest is 35. And as I said, I'm a leadershipologist. When he told me what he had to spell it for me. Oh. I said, what do you do? He said, I'm an epidemiologist. Okay. He studies infectious diseases.
Ew.
He leads a COVID-19 task force. I'm sitting here going, whoa, okay. But because we've spent time together, and not only was I his dad, I was his coach, and I was his confidant in a lot of ways. I was able to work with him, mold him, shape him, and he was able to work with me, mold me, and shape me into being a better person.
Sure.
My daughter, no slouch at all. She's an attorney. Okay. They're actually grooming her to be a partner at her firm right now. She's only been with the firm 3 years, less than 3 years. So what I'm saying to you parents, what I'm saying to you people is that we have a responsibility, number one, to get ourselves together, but number two, to touch everybody around us. I was very moved to see those young minds and those young people speaking. They're 40% of our population, but 100% of our future. So if we don't take the time to mentor, groom, and shape them today, how can we complain about what they turn into tomorrow?
Amen. Well, let me ask you here. Somebody out there needs to know, and I'm interested in knowing, what would you say, since, I'm sure you address this in the book, but give us some tips here. What is it about so many people that they choose to be a follower and not become the leader? What would you say is the number one reason people settle for less instead of stretching and reaching for more?
It's easier.
Oh,
I don't have to I'm not exposed. If I mess up, nobody pays attention to me because I'm standing inside the crowd. If I'm standing out front and I make a mistake, it's like, excuse the expression, it's like breaking wind in the elevator. Everybody's looking at you.
Who did that? Right.
Right. Okay. So now if I'm exposed, now I've got to try to clean it up. Or I've got to try to figure out how to get out of this uncomfortable space. People want to be comfortable. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. And feeling uncomfortable is part of leadership.
Yeah.
You're always going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. When I was a little boy and I would see the photos, my grandmother would show me all the black and white photos because most of our ancestors came from down south, and she would show me actual photos in her album of the struggle. And even the ones I saw, like Life magazine was a big magazine in our home back then because they were one of the forerunners in showing the truth. And even though I saw the people standing in front, at the lines where the dogs and the hoses and all of that, I would look at the faces of the people in the front, and then I would automatically try to look through the crowd to see the look of the faces of the people in the back and wonder, why did they choose to be up there and they choose to stand way back there? And I asked my grandma that, and she said, because she was in a few of those marches, she said, because the people in the back wanted to wait to see what happened to the people in the front first. If they live through it, then I'll go up there.
There you go.
It's and you could see the difference just in their features, whether they were afraid or if they were fearless, And so let me ask you this. How important would you say the element of trust plays in effective leadership?
Oh, that is one of the key principles that I talk about. The membership organization that I lead is called the Culture of Champions. And as a leader, it's your responsibility to create an environment or a culture where people, number one, feel celebrated, not tolerated. And people are willing to follow you because you have developed and earned their trust. See, as I said to you, I spent 30 years in corporate America. And here's what I found. People were being promoted into leadership positions for primarily three reasons: their strategic thought process, their technological skills, or their fiduciary understanding. They put them in the corner office with the floor-to-ceiling windows and the big mahogany desk, and many of them failed miserably. Why? They had no people skills.
No people skills.
The people around them did not trust them. The people around them didn't follow them because they didn't believe in them.
So what kind of leaders were those people that were choosing those not ready leaders?
Most of the time, they're choosing people that were similar to themselves. People, because they were looking for these kind of attributes: technological skills, strategic thought process, and fiduciary understanding. Many of them didn't have the people skills necessary to perpetuate excellence. They were doing well, but they could have been doing better. I don't know if you got any sports fans on your show, but one of my favorite coaches was a guy named Phil Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Phil
Everybody
Jackson
knows.
coached the Chicago Bulls to 6 championships, then went out to LA and did the same thing with the Lakers.
They're Lakers. That's what I meant.
He had a saying. He said, good teams become great when the players learn to trust each other enough to replace me with we.
Wow.
As a leader, it's your responsibility to create that kind of environment where people, again, feel as though you care. There's another saying that says, people lose interest in what you have to share until they understand how much you care. So if you can create an environment where people know that you're looking out for them, they'll look out for you.
Right. Right. Go the extra mile. This and the other. Now, I want to say this. There's 2 types of leader. Well, there's probably more than that. But I remember back when I was pouring all of my energies into the building of someone else's dream, i.e. working for wholesale instead of retail, like I do today when I pay myself first. Because when we pour into other people's dreams, we get paid after the lights, after the insurance. What do we have left to pay our people? It's the last thing on there. Now, what I have found, and I brought this into this career from that, because it's never about one thing. Sometimes we find ourselves inside those not so comfortable situations, not because we are bad people, oftentimes not because those that we work with or for are bad people, but we're there because it is an opportunity for us to experience what we should never become, what needs to be fixed, what is missing in the big picture. So what I'm saying is this. When I started speaking, one of the things that I put out front first, a covenant, if you will, I made, give me this, and here's what I will do with it, is what I said to my higher power. And the number one thing was this. I want to deliver content that does not turn back into a pumpkin at midnight when my audience goes back home. I want them to have things that take root wherever they go in their journey. And that is a big piece, and I think it's a big piece that a lot of people leave out. What do you say about that mindset and how important it is it in effective leadership, in your opinion?
You're planting the seed.
Yeah.
Okay. And leadership is about planting the seeds.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a big seed. It can be a little seed. The size of the seed has nothing to do with the size of the tree. It could be a small seed that you're planting with someone, but you got to plant seeds. People are thirsty for information. Knowledge is the new currency.
Yes.
There's, one of the things that I tell people all the time is people will pay you more for what you know than what you do.
Ooh, say that one more time.
People will pay you more for what you know than what you do. Because people are thirsty and hungry for knowledge. You've got to help people grow. If you're in a leadership role, it's not about you, it's about them. And that's the big disconnect that we have in leadership, whether it's political, whether it's personal, whether it's business. There's a big disconnect where leaders get this title and they think it's about me getting the next promotion, going to the next level, doing this. No, it's about you caring for the people that you've been entrusted to lead.
Right.
The word lead is really an acronym. It's not a word, but people don't understand it because they don't study it. The first letter L stands for listen. People want to be heard. They want you to listen to them.
That's true.
Don't just hear them, listen. There's a difference between hearing and listening. When you're hearing, you've listened for a very short period of time, and then you started to formulate an answer.
Before they even finish.
Right.
So you're taking what they're meaning out of context because you ain't even heard the whole thing.
Exactly. The second letter, E, if you've really listened, you can engage with the second letter, which is empathize.
Yes.
People want to feel empathy. They want you to feel, they want to know that you connected with what they're trying to tell you, what they're trying to bring to you. And many times it's in your best interest to fully interpret or understand what it is they're saying. Then there's the letter A. You can listen, you can empathize all day, but people want action. You got to take some kind of action on what they've said to you. And action doesn't always mean that you have to do something for them that is going to promote what it is they're doing. But action might be that you have a conversation with them and show them where what they want to do can be done a different way, shouldn't be done at all, or should be implemented immediately. It depends. And the D, one of the most important letters, even though it's last, is deliver. Deliver some kind of results. Because people want you to do something. Don't just stand there. Don't just sit there. Don't just nod your head. Take some action and do something. So lead people.
Absolutely right. You know, I was thinking about this while you were speaking on those acronyms. It's like I don't get pleasure. I don't feel successful like with my coaching program and my family, because this is my family. And that's why in all of my brands, there's a community built within. Because it's not about me, it's about us. And I want people to do things not because I said so, but because they choose to.
Exactly.
You see, and there is a difference. So, I mean, who wants to be a part? I don't like doing, none of us do, I don't think, when someone comes off like a taskmaster. You know, right. No, a little Black history, a gleam on there. So, but how do people make the transition? What about that person, Velton, who is in a management position or is in a leadership position, but they drag in their father was abusive. They have a problem with PTSD, or they just don't know better, but they don't feel good about how they leave people feeling. They know the people at work can't stand them. They know, look at who gives you anything for Christmas at work? Nobody, and how do people turn it around is what I'm saying, because this all works or could work. It's easier, let's say, for those who are starting off. They haven't tainted the road before them by, what they've done to people. But what about those people that are in the midst of something and they say, you know what, I want to be better. I want people to genuinely like me. And how important is it that the people you lead like you? Do they have to like you?
Well, the first thing to answer your first question is they have to come to grips with the fact that they have to be coachable, because they can't get to where they want to go by themselves. They need some assistance. They need someone who can intercede and show them where they need to improve. There's an old saying that you can't see the picture if you're in the frame.
Ooh.
And a lot of times we get caught up in trying to see where our own shortcomings are, but because we've lived with them so long, we really can't recognize them. So sometimes it's a matter of getting a coach, a confidential partner that you can talk to, that's going to give it to you straight. Because sometimes we feel as though we got a friend, but our friend sugarcoats or candy coats it for us, and that's really not a friend. If you're truly a friend, if my shirt tail is out or my fly is down, you're gonna tell me.
Right.
Or if I got something on my face,
on your face,
you're gonna tell me.
Right.
Some people will say, look at him. Look at her. Ooh, her slip is hanging. Don't say a word.
Don't say a word.
And then they want to say, oh, that's my friend. No, that's not your friend. Your friend would pull you to the side and say, hey, you need to fix yourself. You need to check yourself. Right. You need to do something different. our shortcomings are things that we've either inherited from someone else because we watched them or we learned from them. And so we have to relearn things, but we got to be willing to relearn, rethink the process. And that's really the number one issue.
That is a great point right there, because I was going to use myself as an example here. I remember when I first started speaking, and I would run my layouts past the people that I trusted, and I remember they'd go, "Well, quit asking me my opinion if you just gonna get pissed off when I give it to you." You know, right? Because a lot of us, I had a real issue at hearing the truth. So what about, that's a big piece of becoming a great leader. It really is, on how to take feedback. So I had to change. You know how I did that, Velton? I changed the wording. I stopped asking for constructive criticism, and I started asking for constructive insight. Because then I stopped responding or reacting critically and started responding, because it gave me a chance to think instead of knee-jerk. They call it knee-jerk reaction for a reason. So what do you feel about that right there? Constructive criticism versus constructive insight.
Whew.
I know that's a deep one, ain't it?
That is real deep. Well, here's the thing. You know, nobody wants to be criticized.
Right.
No matter how thick you say your skin is,
you
don't want to be criticized.
Sure don't.
Okay. And it's interesting what you said about insight. I asked the question, you've heard what I did. How can I make it better? How can I improve upon where I am right now? Think about, take yourself back to school when you got a bad grade. The bad grade is not going to change. It's going to be there no matter what you do. Your only recourse is to go to the teacher, professor, or something and say, how can I make it better the next time?
Right.
How can I improve my performance? And listen for their recommendations. It's not criticism, it's recommendations. You have to be willing to allow yourself to be nurtured, trained, and poured into. But sometimes our ego gets in the way. And we say, whoa, I don't need, and we start comparing ourselves to the person who's talking to us. Well, I don't know why you criticizing me. I'm better than you.
Right. And in their mind, you don't even hear them because you're like.
And that's just insecurity on our part.
Right.
Because we're not comfortable with who we are.
Right.
But we want to superimpose that on somebody else and blame them for it.
Exactly. I got a good one for you. You're going to love this one. You're going to love it. Y'all going to love it too. I know for a fact there's a difference, but this is a big one. A lot of people stop or impede their own ascension in a number of ways simply because they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to say no. They take on things that they're not equipped for and just think, the Helen Keller thing, I'll just feel my way through. But there is a difference between not knowing how to say no and how to stop always saying yes. Those are two different things. But talk about that, taking on things, how to say no, so you save yourself from yourself.
Well, there's two things I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yes is where we're going. No is how we get there.
Say it again.
Yes is where we're going, but no is how we get there. What do I mean by that?
What indeed?
Let's take it to what we do in the speaker business. Especially when we're starting out. First of all, most people who are starting out in the speaker business either are speaking for what they say is free, which I don't speak for free, even though I don't get paid monetarily all the time. I get paid.
Value.
And I write my own check from the stage.
Thank you.
That's number one. But because we're desperate for monetary compensation, if somebody says, I need a speaker on this topic, oh, I can speak on that.
Anything.
I need a speaker on this topic. Oh, I can do that. And in reality, we should say, well, no, that's not my area of expertise. However, if you have a need for someone to speak on the topic of leadership, I'm fully capable of handling that. If you need a person to speak on that topic, you need to call my good friend Lauren Michaels Harris, because that's what he speaks on. I don't speak on that topic. And therefore, I could not do the best job for your audience. That's when you say I don't like the word no, because I'm a sales guy. I came from sales.
Right.
And as a director of sales and marketing, I used to forbid my salespeople to tell a customer no. Never tell a customer no. Offer them something that they're going to say no to. But you never tell them no.
Right.
Let them tell you no.
It's different.
So what I'm saying there is sometimes we're uncomfortable with saying no. Then come back with something that you know that is probably outside of what they're looking for. And let them say, no, that's not really what I'm looking for.
Right.
But be comfortable in your own space. Be comfortable in your skin. A lot of times we won't say no because we're uncomfortable being thought of as being less than we want to be thought of.
Absolutely.
We got internal problems.
Speaking of internal problems, one of the things, again, using myself as an example, that I had no idea, Velton, was getting in my way for so many decades. And once I changed it out, everything began to change for me. And that is my lack of flexibility. I did not realize how I was not willing to be flexible, which is different than compromise. But being flexible, flexibility is what saved a lot of people's businesses when COVID came. Mm-hmm. If you were not able to become flexible, most of them went down, went south, went to the left. Talk about the importance of flexibility and how do you success. I know that's a lot to put into the last 4 minutes, but flexibility so that you're able to make it around that corner and not go off the ravine.
As a leader?
As a leader.
Now, it's funny you say that, because this is one of the pillars of my beliefs. Many years, as I said, all my years in corporate America, they used to send us to these workshops and seminars, Myers-Briggs and this one and that one, and all these. And I'm not just picking on Myers-Briggs because it's great. And they used to send us to these workshops, and the first thing they'd ask, what's your leadership style? What's your style? Yeah. What's this? What's that about you? Well, leadership's not about you. Number one, flexibility. There are multiple leadership styles. Leaders are chameleons. You have to be able to adjust your style to the circumstances that are surrounding you.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to be diplomatic. Sometimes you have to be autocratic. Sometimes you have to be something else. But you have to be in touch with the situation and the people around you to be able to adjust yourself to that situation. That's number one. Number two, as I said earlier, it's not about you, it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand the learning style of the people that you've been entrusted to lead? How do they process information? Are they visual learners? Are they kinesthetic learners? Are they auditory learners? There are 8 different learning styles. Those are the primary 3. But no one uses just one style. Most people use a combination. So when you're communicating with them, are they grasping what you're trying to tell them? Are they grasping the information? Or are you standing there in front of them and perceived as Charlie Brown's teacher? Exactly. And they've cut you off after the first 2 or 3 sentences. And you come back to them 20 minutes later and say, remember that conversation we had? And they're like, they give you that RCA dog look.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's one of those things where there has to be a connection. And it's a connection with you tuning into them so that they will tune into you.
Two-way feed.
Exactly. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as you speak. Communication is a two-way street. It's not all about what you want to say. It's about what they need to hear, but also how they interpret the message that you've delivered. As speakers, trainers, and coaches, one of the things that we often do well, some of us, and some of us fall short on, is we want to pontificate our brilliance. But are we really hearing what the person on the other end is saying, needing, or asking for? My good friend Delatoro McNeil says it's something that I love. Says, when you're in a leadership role, you have to see it before you see it, or you will never see it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see it before it manifests itself, or you will never see it when it comes full circle. And if you don't see it, you can't see what's necessary to solve the issue, problem, or circumstance.
Absolutely right. You all, I know your pad, your paper should be full of notes. If not, you need to definitely make a note to get yourself to becoming the best you in St. Louis, either virtually or in person, coming up the 17th, 18th, and 19th of this month.
Mm-hmm.
Velton will be there. I will be there. An entire string of nugget givers. So listen, on your screen right now, you see 2 roads that lead to all things Velton. At the top, info at leadershipdynamicsinternational.com or cultureofchampions.com. Scrolling along the bottom, we will take the liberty of dropping both of these links inside your chat at the conclusion of the broadcast, which is now. Velton, I want to thank you so much. Wow, what a lot of insight today. And I can't wait to share the stage with you coming up down in St. Louis. And thank you so very much for all you're doing and for showing up today. And maybe we'll talk about Florida. Right. We'd love to see you in Miami. I think it would be great to have you come and speak to the group and be a part of it. So we'll talk about that as well. And you and I out there, we'll talk tomorrow, another illuminated conversation. God willing, I'll meet you at 8 a.m. Central like I do every Monday through Friday, right out there on the front porch. But in the meantime, get out in the world today. Be your best self and be what you want to see the world become. Do it. Do it. Do it. I'll see you tomorrow. Get out of here. As I tell you, I love you and ain't a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody. Again, thanks, Velton. Great job. Great job.